Now, as for its secondary, this is where things actually get beastly if this guy will ever turn the hell around. So come on, look at me. Look at me, you little piece of shit. As you can see right now, wah! Whoops. Hey, what's up you guys, this is Rob from The Gay Guy Plays, and today on the Snapshot, our discs are on the loose when we take a look at the recently buffed Panthera. Now, you can pick up a Panthera's blueprint in the market for 20,000 credits, however, do be aware that it does require Mastery Rank 7 to craft, as well as a pre-built miter and a set of Hiku. Now, if you want to cut through those requirements, you can always pick it up in the market, pre-built, along with a weapon slot and catalyst for 225 plat. Okay, so the Panthera's primary modifier is a fully automatic, highly accurate saw blade launcher. It's got 20% base status chance, which pairs extremely well with the fact that 70% of its base damage is slashing, so you're going to be leaving a lot of your foes bleeding. Now, while you'll be dealing a decent chunk of damage with its primary, its secondary is where things really get interesting. Holding down your alt fire unleashes your mighty disc that damages any enemy it touches within 5 meters. Its physical damage type shifts from 70 to 80% slashing, and its critical chance jumps up to 25%, which can be modded to 62.5% with a single point strike. Toss that on top of its 2x crit multiplier and a fairly decent status per second that can easily hit 100%, and you've got the makings of an armor bypassing wildcat. Now, as for the build, it's a pretty standard crit slash status hybrid using point strike and vital sense to really push its secondary over the edge, but also using rhyme rounds and malignant force to go ahead and create that viral combo that pairs so well with slash based damage. Now, you can see I've got a Fang Fuselage there, however, do be aware that I also have a Riven for this that I'm probably going to be subbing in. However, this is before the rework and the Riven actually has negative status chance, which is not what we want in this case. Alrighty, now as for its top end, while statistically its primary isn't the more powerful of the two, it can still lay out a good chunk of damage, combining viral and slashing together in one weapon, as well as a decent amount of crits. It can still tear through a lot of its targets. Now, while its secondary is statistically superior, you do have to get within close range in order to use it, but if you can land those headshots, it is pretty fucking devastating, as long as your enemy isn't stumbling all over the place, which unfortunately this fire mode does tend to cause. So all in all, after its buff, the Panthera is quite the powerhouse. Now, it's not like crazy top end damage or anything, but it is far more usable than it used to be. I mean, literally, this thing was not as good as the sum of its parts, so I'm super happy that DE went ahead and revisited it, because it was such a great concept, and now that Kitty's got its claws out, it's definitely something that you should check out. Now that about does it for stats and statistics. If you guys want to stick around for gameplay, that's up next. Okay, so can I just tell you exactly how upset I was that they fucked up the original Panthera? Like, you know me, I was always about all of the really cool, weird mechanics, and straight out of the gate, the Panthera was like, oh my god, that looks so freaking epic, but legitimately, they put it out and they fucked it up, and I was like, this is not fantastic, this is not cool, this is boring, this is highly upsetting. And one of the things that I really didn't like about it was the fact that it's this cool saw blade weapon. Like, it's a fucking weapon that is like a saw blade. Why does this suck? This weapon should literally feel super ridiculously epic, right? However, that's just not what happened when it came out on its release. It was just kind of like, oh, here's this weapon whose secondary, I believe that secondary is more powerful than its primary at that point in time. And the whole premise of it was to get up close and personal with your enemy. But oh, guess what? It kind of sucks and you kind of can't kill anything with it. So it was just extremely counterintuitive. I was just like, you want me to what with this weapon? You want me to do what? You want me to get up close and personal to enemies. To like enemies and chew through them with this blade that legitimately couldn't cut a friggin' Ritz cracker. Like, it's terrible. It was terrible. So I was really sad because I like all the weird shit, and this was like right up my alley, and it turns out that it just was not functioning and doing anything that it wanted to. And I mean, how can you mess, like, of all weapons, like, I get it. Let's say you had like a shitty, boring assault rifle. I get it. Maybe you can mess up the numbers on that, right? But this weapon just has so much flavor that it's ridiculous for you to like mess. It's a saw blade and it's called Panthera, for heaven's sakes. It's a freaking band. It's a band, right? It's a freaking rock band. Like, you can't mess this up. This thing has all of the workings of absolute greatness when it comes to like flavor, and it just fell so incredibly short. So I am super happy that they like revisited it, and well, it's not like I mean, you know, like I said in the review, it's not necessarily the most powerful weapon out there, but it definitely packs a punch, and it's usable. I think I was talking to Headshot about this a little bit earlier, and it's like sortie usable. And, you know, really, legitimately, that's all we can really ask for, is that, you know, we get a weapon that's gonna have cool mechanics and make people want to play it, and, you know, it's viable in some of the later game content. It doesn't have to be, like, super ridiculous, you know, solo survival 2 hours later kind of damage, but it's, you know, it's respectable damage, and it's got a neat mechanic to it, and that's gonna make a lot of people play it. And sometimes that's all it takes, is just a neat mechanic with a good amount of flavor in order to kind of put it all the way through. Now here's one thing that I did want to kind of mention, because I didn't mention it in the review, and I know that it's probably part of its stats and figures and that I should talk about it, but its primary fire actually consumes 2 ammo with each shot. I can't remember if it actually believe that the original version of it actually consumed 5 ammo per original shot. Now it's only 2 ammo, so it is a bit of an improvement, but it kind of weirds me out as to why that's like even the case. It's still ammo efficient though. I mean, or fairly ammo efficient. I've actually run a bunch of missions with it, and I haven't even using its secondary fire and its primary fire, like swapping in between the two, not using any ammo pizzas or anything like that. I've still been able to go through missions without having to do anything like that. Like it still works just fine, and it doesn't feel like it needs any compensation. Because let's face it, like especially with some of like the higher end stuff, it definitely, weapons really choke on that, and you end up having to either bring ammo restores or tossing an ammo mutation, or use or you know, be forced into using a sentinel that you really just don't want to use. At least in my case, like I really am not fond of sentinels whatsoever, so I'm like never gonna use ammo case unless they come out with an even cuter skin for the carrier, because damn it, they really want to make carrier the cutest out there, then Taxion. But yeah, I get to attach to weird shit like that, but no, it doesn't feel like I actually need to use any kind of ammo compensation for this at all, even though it does use two ammo on its normal standard primary shot, which is kind of weird. I'm just like, why not just like either lower the clip size or like lower the rate? But I guess maybe it kind of fucks with its secondary. And that's the thing that I really like about the secondary is, like, I don't know, its secondary just feels like it has more impact. But I do have to make note, a couple people I was talking to earlier were like, I hate the sound! And I'm like, but I love the sound. I love the sound because you hate the sound. But yeah, that kind of like does it for the Panthera. I'm really happy because of the fact that, you know, they did touch a weapon with such flavor. And I almost wish that there were more weapons that were as flavorful as the Panthera, but I mean, I guess you can only go so far. I guess you can only go so far when it comes to like weapons in Warframe. You don't necessarily always have to go insanely crazy. Plus, we already have a good chunk of weapons as it is. It would just be like, any flavorful weapon would just be like a reiteration of a weapon that already currently exists, and then everybody's gonna just compare it to that weapon, and it's no longer gonna feel fun or interesting. But yeah, so that's kind of like my take on the Panthera. I'm really enjoying using it. I don't know if any of you guys have actually picked it up since it's buff, but let me know what you guys think if you have played with it, or if you're really excited to go and try it out now, because, you know, everybody pretty much bashed on it before for not being as good as the Miter. So will this change your mind about it? Will this make you want to give up that Miter and say, okay, well fuck it, let's go ahead and jump into the Panthera? Because I definitely know that once I'm done re-rolling my Euphona Prime like a million gazillion times for this ribbon, I've got a Panthera ribbon that's waiting for me that I definitely want to re-roll and see what I can do with, because it's got such a strong disposition. So let me know how you guys feel in the comments below, and as always, as well as what other buffed weapon you want me to cover next. Not the Attica, because I tried it earlier and I compared it to the Zooge, and I really didn't feel I was like, maybe we just won't talk about this one. But let me know if there are any other buffed weapons that you want me to take a look at, or just anything that you want me to take a look at in general. So as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch your body. I'll see you guys again next time. Bye-bye.